I'm Cass. I'm the program coordinator here at LearningFuze, but I'm also currently taking the UI UX module 1. And what's really neat is, so I have my Figma here. So we mainly use Figma for everything that we do on our projects that's related to our projects and to learn about the process of UX design. And so what's really neat is over here where my mouse is, you'll see I have a lot of pages, right? And so for each step of the UX design process, we've actually documented it in Figma, and I think it's a really neat way to be able to keep track of your work, but then also look back. So we'll just take a look at my project that I ended up creating and working on designing and we're almost done with the course. So here we have a question, right? So my question was, how might we reimagine the U.S. elementary school experience due to COVID-19 constraints? I had some notes that I'd taken into consideration of like what we could potentially have, or just some things to take into consideration. We did a survey to analyze and do research on our audience, right? So I have some survey questions. We analyzed our different audiences we might have, and so we actually conducted some user interviews. So I conducted 3 user interviews. So these are my questions that I asked them, right? So for user news, I know this looks like a lot. I'm just super extra. So here, this is like the main part of who we talked to, the session, as well as some of the notes. So that's pretty much all that you would need to do. I'm just super extra. I redid the transcript. So I use a service to transcribe the video into like the words into the text. And so I just reformatted that into like a text bubble version because I thought that would be cool. You don't have to, of course, do that, right? You just expect to do this part. Again, I'm just super extra. But I posted my form or my survey to get more responses on my audience. So I posted it on LinkedIn as well as Slack. We went over the user journey as well as the affinity diagram, empathy, and those were everything that was up until this point was actually used to create the user persona, which you will learn more about in the program. So getting to know more about your audience, right? We did a presentation, and so I just made the presentation in Figma. So we did like a progress check-in with our team. Ideate, so this is another process in the UX design, and so we came up with several ideas on how to approach or develop a solution to my initial how might we question and how it might take form. Right, so we have that research aspect, and now we're ideating potential solutions. There's something called a competitive analysis. So I looked at different competitors that my application might have, right? Impact effort matrix to see which features I would want to have and which ones were more viable in terms of developer effort. So we also learned more about working with developers, something called the lean canvas. So this is going to help also provide a more comprehensive and holistic aspect in terms of determining if your solution is viable business wise, right? In addition to like what your solution is going to provide. Here we have a storyboard, so just something super simple. You have a scenario and what exactly happens during that scenario, right? User flow, so what main features are you going to have? And so one of my user flows is to add an activity. So I mapped out all the different screens that people would encounter and kind of make a seamless and cohesive user flow so they can accomplish the goal task, or they can accomplish the goal. We have something called card sorting, so I mainly use this for the different kind of sorting the different features I might have, right? So, oh yeah, you can ignore that. There we go. The sitemap, so the UX sitemap is kind of like my menu bar, right? So it's laying out my menu bar. Although you can see it's like super big, it's really mainly because this whole thing is just categories. So I also use this to lay out my different filters that I was gonna have to filter out my categories. Oh yeah, sorry, just clarification. I decided to have the solution I wanted to make to design is the activity database app. So that's why I have a user flow on adding an activity and to find an activity. And if you look at the sitemap, so like here for the this whole part is literally just the different categories I was gonna have to find my activity. There's something called wireframing that you'll also go through. So lo-fi wireframes is more so of actually drawing it out on paper or even on a whiteboard. And that way you can get a general gist and layout of how you want the application to be. Here we have mid-fi wireframes. So as you can see, there's a bunch of placeholder images and text, but it's really more so of turning your lo-fi wireframes into a much more cleaner design-wise for mid-fi. So you're like taking up not a step for each notch that you're going with, but you're eventually building up to the high fidelity, so hi-fi wireframes where you actually have the color scheme and whatnot. So as you can see, I have mobile, tablet, and laptop. It's because mine is a responsive website. You can also choose to design an application like a phone app. But I decided to do I decided to do a responsive application. So that means I had to make mobile, tablet, and laptop screens. I just thought I would kept in mind my audience. So my audience is mainly teachers, right? So I want to make sure that teachers from all ranges, from like younger teachers to older teachers, would be able to easily access my activity database that I wanted to be like free and open source. Here I have the more high fidelity. You can see it's much more, there's colors, it's laid out. We have pictures that I really wanted to use. The buttons, right? The font. So I have like a whole style guide. Oh, sorry. Actually, it's more here. My style guide is more here. I even had a logo. So we have the mobile, tablet, laptop, and after this we did usability testing where we had other users test the hi-fi wireframes just to see what kind of kinks that we wanted to iron out, or the what features weren't working as well, or maybe the testing if the user flow was working. I'm also throwing all of these like concepts, but you will be learning more about these. And you see this laptop too and mobile too. Actually, for the tablet, I just edited that version. But these are like these versions I made after gathering the feedback from my usability testing. So that was super neat. Because it's really neat if you're testing your app with users that would potentially be using it, right? So here we even had a design challenge the past Saturday, the past class. And so here's the design thinking process. So we had a design challenge thrown out of us, kind of like a whiteboarding that you would have at an interview as a part of the interview process. So we had 4 hours to develop a loading develop a loading user experience design, so that as people are waiting for the images to load, what are the users going to be doing for those 10 seconds before? So I made a little bit of like a game. So if we let the prototype load. But actually, we also did prototyping in here in Figma as well. And that's why I have these like prototypes over here. Let's just check out the latest one that I have. We click the play button, we'll have the prototype there. But as we wait for that one to load, we'll look at the design challenge prototype. So here, what I did, oh, why is this? Oh, okay, there we go, it's loading. So as I was doing this, so there's an arrow, right? I'm like, okay, start here. So my thing was to create kind of like a game. So it's just literally just like a click and moving game. So I just prototyped all of this onto here. So once they reach the last step, your results load. So that's kind of what they're doing in those 10 seconds as we're waiting, right? And that was the design challenge, which was really cool to do because being able to put together all the elements, you have to kind of pick and choose which parts of the design thinking process you want to like go through. So like I have kind of like my thought process of ideating and like drawing out what my solutions would be, and then actually building it, prototyping it out, the design. I actually just skipped to the high fidelity, but I had this color scheme going on, and the way I prototyped it, I just swapped the images. Sorry, I swapped the screens. It was just easier this way. I could have done something else, but at the time, it was much easier for me that way. But also, right now we're just currently refining our high fidelity wireframe. So if we look at my wireframes for here, this is currently my activity, my application, my web application that I developed. So here, and then so as you can see, my main user flows or pathways are going to be to add your activity and to search the activity database. So that's why you see up here, find activity or add activity. Oh wait, there we go. It is linked. I was like super scared it wasn't linked. So here we have the filters. Like I was saying, I was trying to figure out all the different filters I would have. Grade level, classroom type. Oh, I need to fix this. See, as I'm going through my prototype, I have to make sure that everything is how I want it to be. So if I click on this, there's the activity that I want to download. Oh, sorry. There we go. Download activity, get my activity sent. Your activity has been sent to the email provided. So this is kind of what you're going to eventually build out. And right now, this week, we're going to work on our case study in terms of how we're going to present this on our portfolio. And even how we're going to present it present it to the rest of the class, like our high fidelity wireframes with the prototyping. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we go through for module 1, and I'm super excited for module 2. But I hope this gets you a little bit excited in terms of what you have the potential to create and design, right? So I really enjoy my time here during the module 1 class, and I think it's really neat how the other students and my other classmates, everyone is just so creative, right? And everyone's experience is a little bit different, and they provide their experience kind of adds to that unique value when we have these different solutions. So as we were going, it's really more so, especially with a design challenge, everyone had a different solution, and everyone's solution was so creative, right? So there's so many different ways to do the same thing, right? Whether it's a loading animation or even a loading game, right? So that's just really something neat that I noticed. The instructors are really great in being super detailed, and they're always available to answer your questions and to make sure that you're understanding each concept so that you can uh, build something and create something and design something that you're super proud of, right? So I'm currently super proud of what I've been able to accomplish so far. Awesome. So that's it for me, and I hope you're excited. Hope to see you then. Bye!